My cat loves being in the dryer, and it terrifies me. It will just sit in there after a load, and I'm like, if I ever just don't check that there's a cat in there before I start it, that'll be awful.
Yeah,
There's no...
How long would it take you to figure that out?
Well,
Oh, I'd probably not until it's done.
The cat will probably let you know right away.
Would it?
Well, I have a true story. I have a
hits
true
its
story.
head
I have a true
and
story.
passes out.
I like Chris raises his hand.
My mom had a cat when she was growing up, her family, and they were doing laundry one day, and they were like, "Man, is someone drying their tennis shoes?" It's that clumping, clunk, tunk, 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 tunk.
God.
They open up the dryer. The cat was dry, very dry, and dead.
Jesus.
So it's like
how long was it in there? Did
I don't know. I mean, long enough. I mean, I don't.
That was dry and dead.
That's terrible.
It's like a thing where it's like I remember like Christmas. It got brought up, and like my aunt started crying, just because thinking of the memory of like opening up the dryer.
That's got to be. Yeah, that's traumatic, man. That sucks. God, that's shitty.
I wouldn't be able to get the cat out. I think I would just close the dryer and sell it. Well, I wouldn't sell it. I'd throw it out. Like, I wouldn't be able to extract the cat.
For sale. Super cheap dryer.
I will pay you to take
comes
it.
with cat.
Very dry cat.
Can you get
like if you did hook some sort of funnel to your knob hole and then you just piss through the bottom of your car, is that illegal? Would the spray of piss on the cars behind you make it illegal?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you're not to throw urine out into the road.
I peed in a car before.
In a bottle?
Yeah. I remember when I
Were
was
you
a
driving?
kid. No.
Oh.
When I was a kid, we were on a road trip or something, and I was like, "Mom, I have to pee." And she was like, "We're stuck in traffic. There's like, we're not going anywhere." And I'm like, "I have to pee." And she was like, hands me a bottle, and I'm like, "All right."
How do you get it in, like, without spraying everywhere?
I don't know. I figured it out.
Baby.
Yeah.
Did you just thumb the whole penis in the hole?
I didn't do that. I just put the head on the tip of the bottle and just like held it.
What kind of bottle was it?
Might have been a Gatorade bottle, I feel like.
Oh, so you got a big hole.
Yeah,
then.
it was a big hole, and I didn't like stick it all in. And...
Would you be afraid though if you stuck it all in and then I don't know, for whatever reason you started to get horny? And you're just like stuck
I was
in
like
there.
5,
Well, it's
dude.
horny
You
when
know,
I
like
take
I don't know, guys. My dick's near a hole.
No, I don't know. What if
no, that
somebody says something or you see something? I don't know, like
well, one. I didn't.
fast do you get an erection? How fast?
Tits. Brandon, tits.
How fast do you go from flaccid to fully erect, Brandon?
Well, at this age, not very fast, but if I was like 13, when you're that age, it's just like nonstop.
I mean, well, one.
like
This
your
is before
sexual
I didn't
peak
even
as a
know what an
man.
erection really meant. To me, it was just something that my penis did that was weird every once in a while.
But when you were like 4.
Yeah, when I was like a kid, I didn't know what
Yeah.
it was. It was just like every once in a while, my penis is this weird thing where it gets big and hard. I don't know why.
You're like, man, I have a huge penis.
No, it wasn't even that. It was just like it was a thing that happened. I genuinely didn't know what it was.
You were getting erections at 4?
I don't know.
Well, kids get them.
Yeah. I didn't happen. It wasn't like I was like horny all the time like Brandon, apparently. Jerking off into Gatorade bottles.
Well,
We're getting aroused by Gatorade bottles. There's a difference, Chris.
It's crazy now because you can go to Wikipedia and just like search ejaculation, and there's literally a GIF of a penis ejaculating.
Are you serious?
Like when we were growing up, you didn't know anything. You just kind of like had to learn casually or through the grapevine or with movies or stuff. Like I remember somebody said, I remember being in school and some kid bragged about getting a blowjob. I remember being like, "Oh, that's awesome," but thinking, "What is that?" And it's like to this day, I don't know how I learned about it.
Like,
I thought you were going to say something totally different.
To this day, I don't know what a blowjob is.
Wikipedia is going to teach me.
I feel like I was always slightly misled by the size of sperm when I was learning about them.
Yeah, you always thought they were bigger. Like,
Yeah, like you could see one.
you're like, oh, look at that.
Like a sea monkey.
Or like a tadpole is what I would think.
Yeah, a
Oh.
bunch of tiny poles.
That'd be, how crazy would it be if when you finished having sex, when you're coming, tadpoles are shooting out of your dick?
Oh, God.
Like the size of actual tadpoles are like jumping.
You'd feel the bulge as they came
I know,
out.
it'd be like,
Let us spawn.
What if they made a noise? Like they popped out?
Like you can audibly
and then-
count them.
And the girl stands up and all these tadpoles are popping like blub 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 blub.
flopping around everywhere.
Chris,
Yeah, but I mean, in
Chris
that case, you
entertaining
just
himself.
like splooge in an aquarium, and they just probably like just start swimming everywhere.
Trying to grow a baby.
Really got to do an ad read at some point.
Have you seen? There's this video. I might have brought it on the podcast before of what it looks like when sperm go through like a woman's body, like through the uterus, and like it's just like a minefield. It reminds me of everything I've read about World War One.
Yeah,
but
it's like a
way
miracle that any
worse.
of them make it.
Yeah,
That's why you have to produce so many.
yeah. Like
'Cause
Chris,
the body just tries to kill him.
yeah. Like, do you remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arcade game, the one that was impossible? You remember in the water level with all those like tentacles that
Oh,
kill
yeah.
you? They even have those. They just like, and it like just grabs your tail and just like just
Because
pulls
they
you
want the
down.
strong. It's like the best one. The strong survive. You know, it's like they got to make it through the gauntlet.
How did we get through?
I've said for a while. It's like you go and celebrate your birthday, right? When you were born, but like you didn't do anything when you were born. It's like it's what you should be celebrating is 9 months from your birthday when you like made it.
When you made the impossible mission?
Yeah, when you passed the gauntlet.
Yeah, everything else is just congratulations for not dying yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think I read that essentially to be alive, like you've won the lottery already. Like when all odds considered.
Yeah, you're right.
And you're right. Like it's not a day, it's not an event that we celebrate at all. Just because mainly we don't want to think about our parents fucking.
So there's how many people have lived?
I think most people who lived are alive right now. Like I think it's a relatively small number.
But it's more than the current population.
Yes, of course.
But like,
And there
yeah,
are
it's like
certain-
it's a huge. It's like the number of people in the history in the past was like tiny compared to now.
I wonder
Yeah,
if you could figure out how much jizz has jizzed, or how
Oh.
many little sperms, because you come from a hefty pool of one time
yeah, yeah.
where all of you went in, and then you got to think how many times has that?
How many sperm have been made? Is what
Yeah,
you're asking.
like, how
in
many
the world, in all history?
Earth sperm have ever
Earth
been
sperm?
made?
Well, it's not easy because like it hasn't really been a gradual like constant increase in population. Like there have been certain like things that have happened that created like exponential growth in population, like
medicine.
farming.
Yeah.
Like when we learned how to farm.
But
it was
even
like-
still, though, I mean, you think, well, yeah, you're right, Gus, because it's like you think about the lottery, like even just in one, load, there's millions of sperm, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But then, how many loads are there in your like that actually get into a vagina? Like most loads don't. They most just go into like some tissue.
well, it was like that.
Or like
It was like
Yeah.
that bill that somebody proposed in the Texas legislature. I think you tweeted about it, right?
Oh.
Like imposing a fine every time a guy jerks off and it's not inside a woman.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, because you're not allowing the sperm. It was a,
Really
You
thought
know.
we were gonna get to that ad read at some point.
Okay, just look up how many sperms have existed, and then
Okay.
we'll get right.
So
onto it.
we're doing a little bit of math here, right? So
what is?
so I've according to the BBC article I just read, there's no way to know how many humans have existed over all time, but
Okay.
the estimate is somewhere around 15 billion.
Okay.
15,
only
that's it?
15 billion?
15 billion.
Well,
I
I
would have
mean,
guessed 60.
The population goes. It goes.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
but I still would have guessed more than 15 billion.
So, and here's a little graph actually to highlight what what Gavin was just saying about how population
Yeah.
explodes. This is from 1500 to today.
Yeah.
So if there's 15 billion times, so it's every load is between 2 to 5 milliliters. So what do you want to estimate that at?
How many?
3?
How many?
Oh, how do you want to go by the number? You want to go by? I thought you want to go by
Sperm.
volume.
No, how many sperm?
The tough thing though is you also have to factor in the expected life expectancy too
but
over
if the s-
time, because the longer someone's alive, the more.
We're just going to go with the number of people, and then
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's flip.
So you got to half that number for.
so
for
in
dudes.
each milliliter, there's 100 million. So if we do 3 milliliters, that's 300 million.
300 million per
per load.
load.
Yeah. So we'll assume 1 load per person. 15 billion times 300 million,
Well, no, because women don't have sperm.
Oh, good.
but they were all conceived.
Wait,
Sperm had to have created the woman.
from a dick, which only half those people have.
Right, but her father had a dick.
Right.
So
we're
every
counting his
human
jizzes.
every human had a jizz that made them. Is what I'm
Right.
getting at. So you have to multiply it by the whole number.
Okay, so we're just talking about the people making
Yes,
jizzes.
the people making jizz.
Okay,
Oh,
and then we'll
okay.
take that.
The number's already too big for my calculator here.
Wouldn't it be easier to
using-
think about
well,
to
you're using-
estimate how many men have lived?
I hope
And then
someone
just go from
listening
there, like-
will break this down for us.
Someone will.
gotta be like
Hashtag RT podcast.
To the power of 70.
Even Google Calculator.
4.5 to the power of 18.
Yeah. So 4.
And that's just the offspring producing jizzes
Correct.
of all time.
Yes.
And
Wait, so then just find out the average life and do 1 jizz per day on average.
yeah,
I'm not doing this math anymore.
Yeah,
no,
but
no,
then
no.
because that's what I want to know. I want to know like, and say someone has 2 kids, like on average 2 or 3 kids, right?
Yeah.
And that's split between 2 people, right? So like, yeah, that's a lot of sperm per person that get wasted.
Well, how much sperm do you feel like you've wasted in your life?
Billions.
Well, if every load is 300 million, you jerk off 4 times and you already wasted billions.
On
Exactly.
average, how often do you jerk off a week?
Brandon, everyone on Twitter's bitching about your hoodie string.
It's like going into your neck,
Oh, okay.
like a feeding tube.
Thank God.
Have you wasted a quadrillion sperm? Do you
I'm
think?
sure.
So let's say how old you were. Maybe like
no doubt.
you've been doing it for what? Maybe like
Since I was
18
11.
years.
Since I was 10 or 11.
So we'll say 19
starter.
years.
10.
10 or 11.
What were you doing at 10? How do you even know what to do with it?
I read it in a book.
So on average,
What book did you read?
You went to the library.
Some book.
What book?
It was
that
like
actually instructed
It was like
jizzing?
no, it wasn't like a how-to book.
Oh.
Like how to jerk off.
Was it a
It
naughty
was
book?
it was like a what did you call those books that they used-
textbook.
Encyclopedia?
encyclopedia. It was an encyclopedia, and I was looking up sex and stuff, and as one does when they're like 10 or 11, and then I read about masturbation. I'm like, I think I could do that. I'm gonna give that a shot. So I had no. It was not. I just like took out my penis and I just started like rubbing it until something happened.
Did anything happen at 10? Or was it just like,
It was it was a blank, but
it was a.
You know, Chris, speaking of books, I want to say thanks to Audible for supporting this episode of the Rooster Teeth podcast. Audible has an unmatched selection of audiobooks, original shows.
And then they end up just like
Yeah.
painfully
my
dying.
argument is there is no humane way, I think.
I reckon that the most
and they're
humane way
asleep.
is trap them and then move them.
I know the humane way. You hire a slightly bigger mouse and give him a gun. And tell him only in the back of the head. So stupid.
I read a crazy story. I think it was in Canada. It was this lady had a pet rat, and it accidentally ate her heroin. And she went
Of
to
course, she has a
What?
pet rat.
she went to some like animal control, I guess, I don't know, like a vet, and had to get it treated. But at that point, do you open yourself up to
Wait.
prosecution?
How did a rat eat heroin and live?
Uh,
The dose. How?
let me see.
Just a rat just off its
Well,
tits.
wait,
on its
hold
back.
on. This
but
is-
can you take heroin orally? I don't know. If you eat heroin, does it work?
It can't be great.
I mean, it could fuck you up or kill you.
What
Let's
you're saying
see.
is maybe it's less effective. and
Yeah,
that's
it
why
may
he was
not
able
be
to eat-
like because it's normally what you inject it, right? Or
Let's
you
see.
smoke it.
On Sunday, the rat named Snuggles accidentally ingested some heroin that was left out on a table by a woman in Vancouver. The woman brought a very sick Snuggles to an overdose prevention site in hopes of keeping the animal alive. I'm
Oh, so
assuming
she
that's for
took it to,
humans.
like a drug place.
Yeah.
Not the vet.
Yeah, I don't think so. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I guess they were able to figure it out and save it. But I
There's
mean,
a
at what
picture of
point
a
did the
rat lying on its side, off its ass?
Let me see if
I-
I can send this to broadcast.
On last time I was on the podcast, I talked a lot about getting a pet pig.
Oh yeah.
I found there's a breeder in Texas. I called this weekend
Oh God.
and I had a long conversation with them. They said I shouldn't get a pig.
Because it's high maintenance.
Well, they said I needed a house with a yard.
Uh,
So you just have an apartment.
Yeah.
You could buy some grass from California.
Yeah. No, it works.
I
don't
could
know why you
start
guys
sodding
don't
up
do
still-
my.
it.
you
I
guys
could
still do
sod
that, do
out
you?
my
Yeah, I still do it.
place.
You know, the company was on that Mark Cuban show, and they invested in
I
it.
just.
Do you mean Shark Tank? I wouldn't call that the Mark Cuban show.
Well, I couldn't remember the name, but I said Mark Cuban show, and you immediately knew what I was talking about.
That's the only thing he's on.
Yeah. So it was a good way to classify a show that you can't remember. Oh, there we go.
Oh, this Snuggles, the
Did he live?
Yeah.
smacked up
The
rat.
rat survives heroin overdose. So I guess so.
What a cute little rat.
What do you think that rat's thinking?
I shouldn't have eaten the whole thing.
Yeah. I
Uh,
gotta pace myself next time.
Let me read this thing here. I want to remind everyone this episode of the podcast.
So I'm like really petrified of heights, and I feel it's weird when people say you're scared of heights. It's more like I'm scared of dying from a height, like from really high up. And I was in Galveston, and I went to this like little mini theme park, and they have this like pretty. What the fuck are you talking about? My phone is just like
Oh
transcribing
my god,
everything.
read
I'm
back
saying.
what it said.
I was here they having a few weeks ago. I sound like really petrified of heights, and I feel if we will Sam's you're scared of heights, it's more like I'm scared of dying from fucking like really high up. And I was in Galveston, and I went to this like a little mini theme park here. How about a web search for it?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Fucking Amazon Nook, whatever it is.
I found this on the web for I was here they having a few weeks ago. I sound like really petrified of heights, and I feel if we will Sam's you're scared of heights, it's more like I'm scared of dying from fucking like really high up. And I was in Galveston, and I went to this like a little mini theme park here.
no results, huh? Weird.
Okay, you're at a theme park.
Yeah, so it's a really slow day. There's not that many people there, so I guess the people operating it were really bored. And there's a few things that are on my mind. Like, I don't know if you guys remember a few months ago, this kid like died at Schlitterbahn in Kansas City.
Oh, right.
And like
Why?
I don't know. He sailed
that
off.
was
He
a
sailed
bit
off
more
the track.
intense. That was-
He sailed off the track and got decapitated.
Really?
Yeah.
At Slitterbahn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Not
Yeah.
the one in New Braunfels.
Wait, what?
Not the one in New
No.
Braunfels.
What took his head off?
I think a net or something. It was a
Like,
weight
he
distribution
he had
thing.
become airborne off of the tube. And
Head came right off.
yeah.
The people, he was a very small kid, and there were two very large people he was riding with, and he was at the very front.
Yeah.
So the thing just, it just went crazy. So I guess the guy was like really bored, and there weren't that many people there. So we got in the very front of this pretty crazy roller coaster, and right before he sets it off, he turns to me and he says, "Hey, you forgot your seatbelt." And then he like launches it, and there's like 20 seconds where I'm looking down and desperately trying to find my fucking seatbelt. And I'm like, oh my God, where is it? And I'm like, I have to come to terms with my existence very quickly.
Did
Let me
you just
guess.
hold on extra hard?
There was no seatbelt.
There was no seatbelt. And that was fine.
That's
And
really
then I came
fun.
back and I wasn't mad. I was like, that well played, sir. That was very well played.
God, I would do shit like that all the time if I worked at a theme park.
Yeah, I mean the guys were pretty bored. That was probably the only highlight. I don't know if you guys been to Galveston, but there's not
in
not
a-
much. I went to Moody Gardens, which was probably
In
like
a
the
weird
biggest
way,
waste of time.
that probably made the ride way better.
Yeah, it was fun
Because
At
you
the
were
end
like,
of it, I
it was
like,
super
this is exhilarating.
intense.
Yeah,
Way more intense than normal roller coaster.
yeah.